That would be why, Bob. Aloha. Get to start all over again. So, aloha, Bob. Welcome to Kahuna Happy Hour. We have, again, the Kahuna Quencher. Mrs. Kahuna just got her refill. She has the pineapple tiki mug, which that's funny because it picks up the yellow and it makes them see-through.
Huh? There's actually liquid in there. Not ocean water, though.
Yeah, no. So it's... So, welcome.
No Mike?
Bob's here. I fixed it.
Oh. Bob's here. Hi, Bob.
So, we have guests this weekend. Basically tonight.
Mm-hmm. Offspring number 2.
Offspring number 2. So we have offspring number 2 and number 3 in the house at the same time.
With fiance number 2.
With fiance number
1.
1, because the other one's not officially a fiance.
No, but because it's offspring number 2, fiance number 2 goes with offspring number 2.
Okay. All right. I don't make the rules. I just kind of, deal with it.
So we have offspring number 2 and her fiance. How's that?
That's one leaky mug. Yes, but it can carry an entire ocean.
Look at yours too, doesn't
Mine
it?
just at the top.
By the eyes. Look at those creepy. Right above the eyes.
Yeah, the eyebrows. The eyebrows are see-through.
It's yellow though. It's not green.
The camera's picking up the green in it.
That's weird.
Yeah. So, Bob. What I was saying was I finished the mapping of the rifts. Oh wow. That rum we used is a little bit stronger. It's the liqueur that it has in it.
Doesn't taste any different to me.
I taste it.
Yes, but you are.
It's not bad.
You're an alcohol lightweight.
Go with fiance B, less confusing.
But I don't want anyone to think there was a fiance A for offspring.
This is true. There's not really a
is,
fiance A.
This was the one and only fiance ever. So.
Well, at this point, he is the fiance.
Yes, the fiance.
There's not like 2 fiancés anywhere.
Never have been.
Have not. So that's where we stand. They're going to be here for tonight. We finished the Murphy bed.
That
last
was
night.
a project and a half.
It is not to the quality that I'm proud of,
But I think it looks good.
but it works. Functionally, it's there. But, there's gaps that I'm not fond of.
We're
and,
going to fill that with molding.
I'll use a bunch of different tricks.
And we have to still paint. Well, not we. That's the royal we. That means me. I need to touch up and paint the front panels.
Yeah.
But it will be okay. I might do that this weekend just so it's done. Because tomorrow you're grilling dinner and I don't have to do anything.
I will probably tomorrow not do anything.
Fine.
And Sunday I can work in the yard.
Are you sure you want to do that? You've got to stream on Sunday.
I can do it in the morning.
Okay.
And I'm grilling tomorrow, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so. That's what plastic wood is for. Yeah, and actually I taught Mrs. Kahuna a...
Oh, geez. I would have never known this. I thought I misheard what he asked for.
I
I'm like, what? Do
I
you
had
what?
accidentally drilled a hole where I didn't need a hole. But I still needed wood. I drilled a hole all the way through, and it should have been a wood screw that went in or a smaller pilot hole. And I made a mistake and drilled a bigger hole straight through, which, of course, now the screw won't grab. So I was upset about it for about
37 seconds?
37 seconds. And then promptly asked Mrs. Kahuna,
Nope.
sawdust and Elmer's? No. Better solution.
And this was what...
And quicker.
This is what freaked me out. I'm like...
I said, can you bring me some baking soda and crazy glue?
And here's me going, what?
Baking soda and crazy glue.
Seriously.
Yeah. Just baking soda, crazy glue.
Okay.
So,
Luckily we had both... Ow, you hurt me. We had both on hand.
most people do not realize that the combination of baking soda and crazy glue turns into a hard,
Like polymer?
hard.
Is it a polymer?
It's basically it's an acrylic.
Is that a polymer?
I guess so.
I don't know what the
Yeah, I don't know the technical term. All I know is you put some baking powder into a hole.
Baking soda.
Baking soda, not baking powder. Baking soda into a hole, tap it down, and then add a little crazy glue to it. Yes, that's Zoe. asking for attention. Oh, I have an itch on my nose.
She bit me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not that bad.
So anyway, put a couple drops of crazy glue onto the baking soda, and it hardens in seconds.
Who knew?
Into a hard plastic.
Certainly not me.
I learned this trick from guitar repairmen. When they have to file the nut, the hard plastic piece at the top of the guitar neck, they will actually put a little bit of baking soda in, put the crazy glue on, and they'll layer it on so they can get it as thick as they need to, and then just file it down because it is hard. You can drill it within 60 seconds.
Never knew.
You can drill into it. You can put screws into it. The whole 9 yards. It's a wonder of science. We
also learned that ramen noodles do the same thing.
Ramen noodles can do the same thing, but you really have to crush them up fine. They work as a good wood replacement, but it's more like filling with that compressed wood stuff than it is nice and hard. Yeah.
Yes,
So
so see, we are the fount of knowledge when it comes to crazy glue and baking soda. Who knew?
I have been a MacGyver for a long time.
Oh my gosh, we should talk about some MacGyver stories today once we have everybody here.
Wood filler, yes, and welcome Siobhan. Yes, wood filler, but
we didn't have that.
Well, A, we didn't have any wood filler, and B, it takes a lot longer to dry.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been able to finish what we needed
Literally,
to finish.
I'm not kidding. Within 60 seconds, you can drill, sand, file, do whatever you want to this stuff. It's instant.
Yes.
Now, if you have to cover it up, that's a little different because you are going to have to try to paint plastic, and you know how that goes. But we didn't have to.
It was on an inside part.
Yeah, it's hidden. You're not going to see it, and a little dab of paint's not going to make a difference.
And if someone does see it and complains, then they don't deserve to be sleeping in the Murphy bed to begin with.
That's right. That's right. It's our Murphy bed. We do with it as we like.
Yes.
Our world, our rules.
We have plenty of MacGyver stories that we can tell. Believe me. I even have some of my own to tell. Between the two of us, we are pretty dang creative.
It's called, being broke and figuring out how to unbreak something.
Yeah.
Like the gadget I used to stretch the spring.
Yes, the washing machine issue.
Yeah, how to stretch a spring open when it's the washing machine for the seal. It's a front loader, so
we have a front loader.
It's a front loader, so it's got a metal hoop that the ends are closed together with a spring, and it's really super tight. It has to be because it
mega.
It holds the rubber boot in so it doesn't leak. So the trick is, how do you fit this thing into the little groove it's got to sit in?
When you don't have the tool that stretches it, like the laundry repairman did.
Stretching that spring big enough to be able to do it.
It didn't even work with 4 hands. And then we tried it with 6 hands, and that didn't work.
That didn't work either. That just got worse. So I figured out.
Everybody was in the way.
I figured out how to do it with
a clamp.
A wooden spreader clamp that I used in reverse fashion. I basically, of all things, tied wire to the two sides of the clamp, the two pieces of the clamp, and tied those ends to the ends of the spring, pulled apart as far as I could, but on one end I had it attached to the screw, so the screw was all the way towards the other side. As I unscrewed it, it backed the spring off. We were able to drop it into place and then just cut the wire
and boop,
popped it right into place. MacGyver got nothing on me. Besides, he's older. A lot older.
Now he is, yeah.
And
not as
well,
handsome.
I was going to say he's gained weight, but then again, like I can talk.
He's not as handsome as you.
Oh, good cover. Good cover. See, that's why I married her.
Kahuna has had plenty of MacGyver opportunities in the
True.
in the backyard.
Angus MacGyver is not. You're right.
Yes, there. One dumb thing that MacGyver did was he connected a
Oh, that one.
drainage pipe in the same way twice, realizing it was wrong the first time, and then he did it again the second time.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly the same.
I realized, oh,
That was not a MacGyver move.
I installed this backwards. So I cut it, patched it,
And attached
installed
it.
and installed it backwards again. So it's got two different patches in that area. Yay. That was fun. By the way, the scene behind us there, you see it's a new scene. It's no longer the Kahuna Lair. Now it is the beach in Cambria, California, where Mrs. Kahuna would love to retire. Frankly, I would love to retire.
It's like
Period.
my favorite one. It's got to be. If it's not my favorite place on the planet, I can't think of what my favorite place is. I really did enjoy the beach, though, in Arica, Chile, but I don't want to retire in Chile.
I'm not moving to Chile.
That's okay. I wasn't going to ask you to.
Good, because I wasn't going to go.
Okay, good.
Okay, so got that clear.
Got that clear.
I'm not going to Chile.
But that beach was, beautiful.
Also, the Arizona state shirt is a tribute to Offspring number two, who is here, who is a recent graduate of Arizona State.
Mine is my school colors, purple and black. It was Spirit Day today, and I have the blingy football on. See how it's got like glittery blingy?
Blingy purple football.
Yes.
Siobhan, how are you doing? What was your week like? Mrs. Kahuna had an interesting week. I had an interesting week.
Yo, yeah, I did.
You had an interesting week.
Yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday were interesting.
Yeah. More to deal with
Parent number two.
parent number... Was it both times parent number two, or was parent number one was one of them?
Oh. I don't remember.
Yeah. Same
I tried
parents
to block
as the
parent number one out of my brain.
Same parents as last week, but
Different issues.
a whole new week. And so,
But I think parent number two is now my new best friend.
Yes, you had a good conversation with parent number two yesterday.
And I, helped out parent number two getting in touch with another teacher.
So any more in the saga?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is more.
Yeah.
So, I probably spent 90... Uh-oh, surgery.
Whoa. Siobhan, everything okay? We're concerned. This is our look of concern. We're concerned.
Good thing.
Oh, it was a good thing.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Good. So the saga continues.
The saga of the parents.
So Saturday, I probably spent 90 minutes or so, because my principal had asked me to put together top surgery. Okay? Okay. So I spent 90 minutes putting the timeline of events together for my principal, because my principal had to have a conversation with mom number two. Because mom number two would not let the Dr. Fauci article thing go.
Which was last week.
In the meantime, there was something with parent number one.
Yeah, it was... They sent a letter to...
No, that happened on Friday. There was no parent number one this time.
Oh.
So that happened. Oh, well, it's really not that exciting. Oh.
I Googled that for... Siobhan, I Googled it for Mrs. Kahuna. Because I'm not sure how comfortable you would be with sharing it. So I just Googled it and showed it to her so she could see what it was.
Yay!
This happens a ton on our...
Who's Swan 773?
I'm not sure.
Who are you, Swan 773? We've never seen you. But welcome. Oh.
Okay.
You can have some of mine. I'll gladly give them up. And okay, thank you.
Welcome!
Oh, okay, I'm a...
Lurker!
Oh, you're a lurker!
Welcome.
That's fine.
Lurk away.
But really, my week, my Tuesday was the day. My Tuesday, my kids had tutorials, and it was our first virtual tutorial. Normally we do it in my classroom, and my tutors come. Yeah, but Mr. Kahuna isn't the one that has to try to get the blouse to button, or who has to carry them around all day long and ends up with the backache. Yes, there's that.
You might as well change subject. You keep trying to tell the story, and you haven't ever gotten there.
I don't care. I don't need to tell the story. Anyway,
Okay.
mom number 2 ended up being okay after that, but whatever.
And what I was going to get to, the reason I Googled it is we've gotten used to the fact we will play Cards Against Humanity,
Oh, jeez.
and every once in a while a card will come up, and 2 of the players, the 2 females, will not know what something is on one of the cards.
Like slang I've never heard in my life. I teach middle school, not high school.
The guys are dying. We totally get what the card is, and they're like...
And we're looking at each other going,
And so, I am the official Googler. I go to the Goog and show what the definition is, which is usually responded to with, "Oh!" Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's you. LOL.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to, Goog it. And there's been a few of those where it's just like, ooh, hey.
Yes. And then we're like, ew, what are we going to play this card with? Ugh.
And of course, you know what that does to my search history. For the next couple days, I start getting stuff
About the word.
and go, no. No. Yay. Yay for Google foo. Yeah. Oh, Google. That's right. I am master of the Google.
So what do you guys want to talk about today? Give us some topics. Say unction.
Unction. Google unction. Function.
Oh. Okay. We need some conversation starters.
We talk about anything, but let's see. So, I know Bob was working on Synergasia stuff this week as well as some other stuff, and from what I hear, had a great stream this morning.
Sorry,
I like words.
I like words too. Former English teacher.
You still sort of teach English.
I teach every content area now,
Well, this is true.
just because I have to.
I almost thought you were going to ask about, have to admonish the no underwear thing today.
No, because no one even volunteered to show me their underwear.
Well, no. Game of Tomes was revealed today. Yes.
What is that?
It is... So, NaNoWriMo, NaNoWriMo, it's November. And basically
That's November?
it's an event every November.
Oh.
And the event, NaNoWriMo, is to try to get you to write, I think it's NaNoWriMo. It's to get you to write, I think it's 30,000 words in a month. National Novel Writing Month.
Got it.
Okay, so at least get you started on the first
Oh,
draft.
I see how that works. I got it.
It's caught up now.
50K.
50K words, sorry, not 30K, 50K. So in the neighborhood of 1,500 to 1,800 words a day.
Okay.
So some of the...
That could be an email for some of us. What?
That's true. It could be an email. Some of the Anvilite streamers
Yes.
are doing events to help people prepare for this.
Like a boot camp?
Kind of like a boot camp to prepare for doing this writing, because you have to have some stories, you have to have some stuff set up to be able to do the writing. Otherwise, if you go into this completely cold, it's going to be a slog. Even when I did the prompts,
Yeah.
we were supposed to go for 10,000 words. I wrote like a madman and I got to 28. We're talking twice that. So it's because if you miss a day, you're messed up. Barbarossa, welcome. Did we miss you last week? I think we missed Barbarossa last week, didn't we?
I don't remember. I was telling the parent number 1 and parent number 2 story, and I was hot.
Barbarossa was Georgia. You said he wasn't here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Welcome.
Who's Sparkles?
Barbarossa Sparklebeard.
Oh, I see. But it's got a capital P in it, so I thought maybe it was a new human.
Oh, no.
Because Barbarossa does not have a capital P in Sparklebeard.
You are an English teacher.
But that is sometimes how people distinguish themselves from each other.
Sometimes.
In this world, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just guessing.
Typo. Kahuna. When did the Kahuna Lair get an oceanside view? Today.
Hoy.
Yep.
Esta mañana.
Because no, it was this afternoon.
Esta tarde.
Esta tarde. Yeah, recently, like in the last couple hours.
Recientemente.
We decided since it's now gone from live from the Kahuna Lair to Kahuna Happy Hour. I figured we needed something more
Tropical looking.
tropical and happy hour-ish.
Although this beach that we have pictured here is not tropical.
No.
But it is one of my very favorites on the planet.
Sunday was a cabana scene. Yes, I did put a cabana scene up behind me. Yeah.
How are you, Mrs. Kahuna? Es tu clase? Bueno. You don't want to use S. You probably are looking for a changing state of being, so you want to use the verb estar. Not ser.
Quit being the grammar police in Spanish.
Anyway.
Oh my God.
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. I actually gave my kids a quiz today on the basics that they needed to know. Many of them got, a C or better. And one of the last questions was, please let me know anything about you or anything about anything that you want me to know. And I got several nice compliments that were paid by some of my students and how they were worried about how this year was going to go, but they felt better about it and that, so it was good. It was pretty good.
And one felt it was absolutely necessary that Mrs. Kahuna know that she has a fat poodle.
Yes, that was what I needed to know. My poodle is fat was the literal sentence that came out of that question.
My poodle is fat.
Yes. I've seen the poodle. The poodle has been on the stream in our Google Meet, and the poodle, it's not obese, but it could stand to lose a few pounds.
Mi poodle es gordo. Or gorda.
It's a girl.
Mi poodle es gorda.
What is the word for poodle?
Probably poodle.
You think? We'll have to Google.
I'll have to look up.
We'll have to Google it.
Time for the Goog.
What is the word poodle in Spanish?
Translate. Poodle.
Here's a fact about me. I have held an
Spanish.
English and a German trench knife from World War One. Huh.
Wow.
As well as a bayonet. You've actually touched it. Interesting. Ah.
Caniche.
Caniche?
What it says.
I would have never...
Or perro de lanas.
Lanas, like wool.
Wool.
Oh. War story, kind of. When I was in 7th grade, my history teacher, Mr. Voden, who is probably now long deceased because he was fairly old then, he was part of the U.S. forces that climbed the mountain or whatever that where Hitler was hid away in his little, retreat or whatever. And he was actually one of the soldiers that found Hitler's body. And he actually and he brought it to school to show us.
Hitler's body?
No.
Oh.
He actually had pieces of Hitler's personal stationery and a few other, mementos that were obviously Hitler's. And I thought that was the coolest thing.
You notice something on screen? Not that screen. That screen.
What?
You're dead center, and I'm squished over to the side.
It's because of where I got my feet up.
Well, you can put your feet on the app. I'm
Help me.
They want to talk to me. They get to talk to you all week long.
Wow. Oh. We've been doing this for a month now, and all of a sudden it's like,
I'm the star.
One of my bucket list locations is Vimy Ridge, the only part of France that is part of Canada. Huh. I never knew that.
Is part of Canada.
Never knew that.
Where is that?
Gibraltar is on the Iberic Peninsula, and it is actually part of the UK.
Iberian Peninsula. It's Iberian.
Yeah, true. Well,
Iberico is the Spanish word.
yeah, so that's where I was going. Huh, never knew that.
It's Canadian soil. Wow.
Where is that? Like, what part of France? Coast? Central? You
The
know,
one with the maple leaf.
northern?
The one that plays hockey.
Oh, yeah, that's true. France gave Vimy Ridge to Canada because more Canadian blood was spilled there than French.
Ah. We didn't even try to do that at the same time, and we did. That's a little scary.
Well, you know, we're getting to that point where we do these kinds of things.
It's a little scary.
It is.
We finish each other's sentences a lot.
Sometimes we don't even need to finish the sentence.
No, it's just a word, and we know.
We're getting there.
Drink up.
I have a see-through pineapple.
The see-through pineapple.
Yes.
So, if you haven't gotten yourself an adult,
You're done.
I'm not driving. I'm not even cooking. I wish more Canadians knew that. It wasn't part of history when I grew up for whatever reason. Yeah, it's probably one of those little things. I mean, that people.
Never knew.
Well,
I'm not Canadian, though.
true.
Okay,
Bob's
I'm
back.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Bob. You missed an enlightening piece of information there that Vimy Ridge is
Canadian.
Canadian,
Even though it's located
even
in
though
France.
it's in France. I didn't know it. No.
We haven't gotten rated.
No, I'm kind of surprised. You must be running long. That's okay.
Okay, well, we need conversation starters, please, because we're fresh out of them today.
Well, held a message for reason identity.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
Allow.
Because it used a name.
They use that name.
There you go. Mrs. Dino had somewhere to be tonight, so dinner was quick, but it was also now. Yeah, no, I
Okay.
totally understand that one.
I should have met someone who had taken part in the D-Day invasion. I took his uniform to school, as well as a letter from a French woman of a vineyard who gave him in 1850. What?
Letter from a Welsh woman from a vineyard who gave it, I'm guessing, gave it to him in 1850.
Oh. I knew you would.
Oh, wow. Permitted term, French your Hitler. Wow.
I don't see French your Hitler. I see your Hitler.
Well, and there's French there. So
French later.
apparently,
Okay.
someone must have used the phrase at some point, French your Hitler.
Wonder what that means. No. A bottle of wine.
Oh, a bottle of wine.
You
Oh.
brought that to school and you didn't get in trouble? And if it hasn't been opened yet, it might be vinegar by now. Even though it probably has a cork, but corks don't last that long.
Yeah, we're having dinner soon.
Sort of.
It's being cooked in the Instant Pot.
Yes, but I have to, once the beeper goes off, it needs 15 minutes of natural release. Then I have to cook the potatoes and the carrots and the cabbage separate.
So
Once
at some
they
point,
turn
we'll be
mush.
eating at some point.
We'll be eating by 6.
We had a request for corned beef.
When recently. Well, Offspring number 2 told us that they were coming with their fiance to visit like a month and a half ago. And recently, I meal plan over the weekend for the following week so that I know we have everything we need. And I knew they were going to be here for dinner. And I said, so, is there anything that you want me to make for dinner that you haven't had in forever, or something that I used to make all the time when you were a kid that you haven't had in a long time? And corned beef came up. So that is how we are having the St. Patrick's Day meal.
An important
In
tip
September.
from Kahuna.
What?
Corned beef out of season. $9 a pound.
Yeah, it was expensive.
I could have bought New York steak. Yeah. I've never paid that much for corned beef, but apparently it's way out of season. In fact, there was only one store near us that had
Cool.
any. And that is cool, Barbaros. I like that. So you teacher translated it. Speaking to an Irishman now.
We are having potatoes and carrots, and I have red cabbage, but wasn't going to make it unless Kahuna wants some. I'm not making cabbage. Normally I make cabbage when I make it on St. Patrick's Day. And you do know that in Ireland they don't really even know what corned beef is, right? Yeah, I know.
But
Usually they have lamb.
But I like corned beef. I really don't care.
I don't like lamb.
I think next time we go to find one,
We're going to stock up.
we're going to stock up.
You need to look up cold cannon.
Cold
I
cannon.
know what that is. That's like sausage. Isn't it like crumbly pieces of sausage or meat with shredded cabbage? It's kind of like a hash in it. It's like a cabbage hash.
Cannon. Look at that. Second entry.
Cabbage and potatoes, maybe.
White-headed cabbage is the traditional Irish dish of mashed potatoes with kale or cabbage.
Yeah, but a lot of times they put like pieces of like breakfast sausage in it too, because it's usually a breakfast meal.
It's literally, they call it Irish mashed potatoes.
Cabbage and potatoes.
I would eat it. Potatoes. Mashed potatoes are like one of my kryptonites. I can eat lots and lots of mashed potatoes. Way
Yes.
too much.
And
mashed
so
potatoes.
when I make mashed potatoes, I only make enough for everyone to have a serving. Because it's bad for Kahuna's diabetes to have that many potatoes. When the Irish came to America and suddenly from the Lower East Side, they were Jewish neighborhoods. Is it fun being a teacher? Is it fun? I don't know that I
I'm
would.
scared I wouldn't be good.
Okay, well, I was scared I wouldn't be good either. You just have to be yourself and realize that they're kids. And, remember what it was like to be a kid. Oh, okay. One of my students today in their Tell Me One Thing You Want Me to Know said, some of my teachers give me way too much homework and it takes me too long to do. You give us the right amount of stuff. You give us not too much, not too little, just the right amount. So you need to honestly, the best thing to do is take their pulse every once in a while. Do stuff like that. Hey, today is, like I've done What's Good Wednesday. And when we're in the classroom, everybody gets a Post-it note and they write one thing that has happened to them that was good so far in the week. And we post it on my whiteboard. And everybody stands up there and they're reading everybody else's stuff and they're like, cool. And you don't have to sign your name. It's a cool thing. Or we'll do Motivation Monday. What's one thing you're looking forward to for the week? And it gives the kids a chance to share stuff with each other and with me, and they like that. They like to see your human side, Like today, first thing this morning, I got locked out of the office. Couldn't get the door open, so I had to get Kahuna out of bed to help me, and it was.
I was dead asleep.
Dead asleep.
And she came to the door and said, I
hate to do this to you.
because I wanted you to get some sleep, but the office door's locked and I can't get in.
It's not like a key lock, and it's not like the kind that's got just the push button that you can stick the little thing in and turn and it opens. This is a weird lock.
I haven't installed a new one on it yet, but yeah, on this one, I literally have to use other techniques to open the door.
Lock picking, basically.
Well, no, because I'm not picking a lock.
And it's kind of the credit card thing.
Yeah, so I'm kind of in there, and I use a spark gap feeler.
So
To sit there to pop the door open.
yeah, so that's so I told the story this morning. I tell those kind of stories to the kids, and it makes you human to them. They know you're a teacher, but they want to know about you too. So if you share your humanness with them, it endears you to them, and then they'll once you got them dancing on the palm of your hand, it's really easy. It really is easy.
Barbara says, I never really grew up. I just learned how to behave in public.
So you should be fine.
And you're ahead of me.
You should be very fine then. If you've never really grown up, you'll remember what it's like when you had teachers that you absolutely hated, and you'll not be like them ever.
I don't know that I even know how to behave in public.
Would you say it's fun to be a teacher? I mean, you live my life with me.
I can't speak for you. I can't. I can say that you have some really great experiences, and you have some that are sucky. But usually, the sucky ones are not the kids.
Right. Usually, the kids
It's
are not
the
the
parents,
suck-ass
or
ones.
it's parents or administration, depending on where you've been.
Or it's parents who are enabling their kids, which then make the kids sucky.
Yeah, but that's not the kid's fault.
Right. But teachers, my favorite teachers were always the ones who gave you a little insight into what it was like to be a teacher. I mean, I had students when I taught English. Have you graded our essays yet? 30 minutes after they turned them in. And I literally sat down one day and I said, okay, you guys are going to work on this assignment. And while you're doing that, I'm going to grade one essay. Let's see how long this takes. So literally, we started a timer, and I went ahead and graded one essay. One 5-paragraph essay from an 8th grader. That's it. 20-ish minutes. Because you have to give feedback for writing. And they're like, wow, it takes you 20 minutes to grade one essay? I'm like, this was an easy one to grade. Sometimes it takes me longer. So when I've got a class of 30 kids, and I'm grading 30 essays, spending 20 minutes on each one, I mean, you do the math. That's 600 minutes. That's 10 hours.
And one thing I would, from my experience, be careful of. You're still their teacher.
Yeah.
I
gotta know where that line is.
Yeah, I've had and also seen teachers that they want to be everybody's buddy.
That's not the way to be.
And they become ineffective because the students run over them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work either. It's a matter of, I know what Mrs. Kahuna does, and she does it every year in every class. She sets the ground rules down first day. This is what's expected. This is how we're going to do things. And the first week, they get a little leeway.
Yeah.
A little leeway.
It's wiggle room more than leeway.
Yeah, they get a little bit of room to move within those rules, but with admonishments. Okay, that's not the way we're going to do things here. By the end of the first week, that wiggle room or that leeway is gone. So by the time the second week starts, they know what's expected, and she comes down on them like a sledgehammer in the second week if they're not towing the line. But the other side of it is she gives a lot of herself to them, so they get the help. I hear her greet every kid every morning.
In every
class. I hear every single one of them. So it's not like I'm, taking it for granted that Mrs. Kahuna does it. I hear it every morning. Hi so-and-so, hey so-and-so, good morning so-and-so, good morning. Every single one of them. And she develops a rapport with these kids. They appreciate that. And, there's a couple who like to just hang out.
Oscar.
Yeah.
Gracie.
Good old Oscar. And she has Oscar for 2 classes. But he likes to just hang out with her. And you know what? That's cool. And a lot of times to me, having been probably one of those kids, that tells me he probably does not get that kind of attention at home.
Right.
And the fact that Mrs. Kahuna can give him some of that attention that he's maybe not getting, and I could be totally wrong, but it's, I was one of those kids. And so you did things for positive attention. And, that kid's going to be better for what Mrs. Kahuna does.
One of the things, too, Barbarossa, is you to be a good teacher, I mean, you're not really taught how to be a good teacher. You really aren't. I mean, you get these methods classes and you're told that, you know, you need to lesson plan and la 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 la. And sometimes you have to remember that no matter how well you've planned, you have to take the teachable moments. Example, I used to live in Arizona and I taught in Arizona for 6 years. The last 2 years that I taught in Arizona, I was in a portable building. So I had an entrance that was like to the outside, to a sidewalk. And Arizona rarely sees rain. And I always joke with the kids when we get a storm that the rain is making your hair grow into your brain and tickling it. What is the problem today? Well, it was it was probably the end of the day, one of my last class periods. And these kids were like, oh my God, it's raining. Oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, okay, we're not doing what I had planned on doing. I opened the door and I put the door stop in so the door stayed open. Turned off the lights because it was still bright enough. They had to close their eyes because I was teaching English. So close your eyes. We're doing sensory writing. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to listen. I want you to smell. I want you to see if you can taste it. I want to know what's going on. And then I had them open their eyes, and they had to write one paragraph about what it was like to have their eyes closed with the rain going on outside. Then the second paragraph, we actually went outside in the rain. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What was the excitement level for you? They came back in. They weren't soaking wet because I had made sure the rain had stopped enough, but they were wet. And they came in, they sat down. I have never had a more engaged class in a lesson in my entire life. You have to take those teachable moments and use them. You know, if something happens, I mean, we had an earthquake at school one day, and we all had to go out, you know, we do our little earthquake thing. And when everybody came back in, they wanted to talk about it. And I'm like, okay, I either fight this or I let it happen. So I'm like, okay, we'll talk about it, but we're going to do this in an organized way. We're not just going to talk blah. So I put some questions up on the whiteboard, and I said, here are the questions we're going to talk about. Everybody's going to get a chance to respond if they want to respond. I said, but there's like 2 or 3 questions here, and it should be enough time left in class to do this. So we had a structured discussion about what causes an earthquake. Why do you have to leave the building when an earthquake happens? Isn't the building a safer place to be in an earth? I mean, those are the kinds of things that kids don't always get to talk about, and talking about it with an adult who they respect means a lot to them. You know, I mean, I remember a vocabulary lesson my first year teaching. I had a separate vocabulary program that I did with these kids because they were honors kids. It was big. It was, you know, college words. I call them 25-cent words. And one of the words was the word schism. SCHISM. They had never heard of it before, but as soon as I said it, the entire class erupts in giggles because it sounds funny. I'm like, okay, so I want all of you to turn to a partner and I want you to say the word to each other 3 times each. Schism, schism, schisms. The whole class is laughing. I'm like, okay, bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. After that, the whole lesson was right on track. You just have to let those things happen, and you have to remember that they're kids. I mean, depending on the age level, they're kids. And, you know, build in some fun for them every once in a while. Hey, build a family. That's what I do. I mean, part of what I teach is building a family in the classroom, and it's a very supportive type environment. But if you have team building activities for them, say, you know, we have short Wednesdays. We have teacher release Wednesdays. They're only a half day when we're in a normal environment. So I only see my kids for 30 minutes on that day. Well, frankly, by the time I get attendance taken and everybody gets settled, I've only got about 24 to 25 minutes left. What can I really impart to them in that amount of time and still give them enough time to do some sort of practice? Not a whole lot. So we do team building on Wednesdays. I'll do like marshmallow towers with toothpicks and marshmallows, and they have to whoever gets the tallest tower, the whole team gets a prize. Usually it's something that's academic related. You get out of this assignment, or it's a homework pass or something like that. And then we'll do lifesaver go-karts. I have a presentation for the whole thing, and it's they get 10, the group gets 10 lifesavers, and they get 4 straws and toothpicks and tape and paper, and the only thing they can use is what's in this bag to make a go-kart lifesaver. And we race the go-karts, and the winning team, who rolls the farthest, gets a prize. And those are the kinds of things that they look forward to. Now, I can't do that every day, but I can do it twice a month on Wednesdays. So build something into your routine like that makes the kids want to come to your class.
A couple things. Swan, I'm glad you found those teachers. I wish more kids could find teachers that understood their students, as opposed to just trying to get the lesson out. Barbarossa, I think the key to me for someone to be a good teacher is be a good human.
Yeah.
Be a good human. Treat the kids like good humans. You will do well. What Bob's referring to is, I heard earlier you were talking about someone who changed the font size to fill up.
Yeah, so it literally 2-column notes. I never ask for a specific amount of notes because notes are for the kids, they're not for me. If I give you a 4-page article, I'm expecting you'll have at least a page of notes, not just 3 sentences, because that's just not right. But one of my students changed their font size from 12 to 75. I mean, and I'm like, seriously? You don't have to do that. I can read. I don't need glasses to read. But
Thank you, Siobhan.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
Yay. But it's just, and honestly, my kids expect me, my kids expect me to call them out on that stuff, and I'll call bullshit when I see it. And they expect it. The other thing, too, that I tell my kids is you don't have to love everybody in this class. In fact, I don't expect you to. And you don't even have to really like them, but you do have to respect them. You will respect each other in this class, because not respecting someone in life is not going to get you very far. And part of my job is to teach them skills that they need to be successful in college. And if you're going to be disrespectful to your fellow students, or to a professor, or even to the custodian in the building, let's see how far you're going to get in life. We just don't behave that way. We just don't. So it's a balance, really, and you have to find that balance with the kids. But Kahuna's right. If you don't set the ground rules and the boundaries the first week of school, they will walk all over you, and you will be flatter than a pancake when you don't want to be.
I just had it in my head when I heard it. I knew exactly what was going on, and I'm only hearing Miss Kahuna's side, and I'm thinking, there's newspaper headline font going across the page.
It was bigger.
Just this massive.
It was like poster size.
I learned,
and
that's half the page.
I'm like, no, that's not how we do things. Just not how we do things.
That's like the guy who figures out that if he makes his page 2.5 lines of space instead of 2,
or
he only has to write a quarter less.
The kids know that I figure out that stuff pretty quick. Most of them don't even try it anymore. I mean, they're just like, don't. In fact, one of the things I do at the end of the school year is, if we've got new kids coming in next year, what are some of the things that you can tell them that they need to know and follow so that they're successful in my class? And inevitably, that saying, you don't have to love everyone, you don't have to like everyone, you just have to respect them, comes up like 50 times. The other one that comes up is, make sure that you're turning your work in on time and to the best of your ability. Otherwise, you're going to hear it every single day. And the other one too, I do grade checks with my kids. Just remember, turning in something is better than nothing. because a 100 and a 0 averages to a 50, which is an F, but a 100 and a 60 averages to, I don't even know what it averages to off the top of my head.
80.
80, which is a B. Wouldn't you rather have a B than an F? Oh my God, those are my words exactly that come out of my mouth.
Yes. And Bob says, remember the margins.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to fix the margins.
Yeah.
Yes, the dog is climbing out of the sea.
Can I please have you to stop?
The at this point, the dog is the Kraken. Hey!
Ow.
Sorry.
I know there's 7 minutes left of the stream, but I need to go downstairs and deal with corned beef, or we won't be eating till midnight.
Go deal with corned beef.
So thank you, and Barbarossa, you're going to be a fabulous teacher because you're so worried about being a fabulous teacher. Frankly, that's the best advice I've got for you. The doggin.
Yeah.
Here's to the doggin.
Release the doggin.
I'll see all of you next weekend, next Friday. But I do have to go because it's not spiced rum. We don't do spiced rum in this house.
No.
But thank you for your questions. And, you know, I love talking about teaching. I love what I do. So, but I'm going to go deal with corned beef.
Corned beef.
Okay.
Bye. Go deal with the expensive corned beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is ruin this corned beef. Oh my God. I did not expect how much that corned beef was going to run. Holy crap. I would second what Mrs. Kahuna said, Barbarossa. Don't worry about whether you're going to be a good teacher. Just be a good human. And I have no reason to believe that you're not. So just be the good human that you are and treat them with respect and make sure they treat each other and you with respect. That's it. I think the teachers that I disliked the most were the teachers who demanded respect simply because they were the teacher. And what they said didn't matter. Meaning they could be demeaning, they could be rude, they could be grumpy, they could be disrespectful to their students, but they expected the students to be respectful to them. Those kind of teachers are always, to me, are going to have a hard time. Sounds like my grade 9 English and socials teacher. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I've had those teachers. I think we all have at some point or another. Or the teachers who are just, they're going through the motions. They're doing this because it's their job and, they've got 3 more years to retirement. That happens. Had respect for other students, but hated me. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. When I see how Mrs. Kahuna teaches, and I'm biased. I will admit, I am biased. But when I see how Mrs. Kahuna teaches, it amazes me that there are teachers who don't do that. It amazes me that there are teachers who don't get it, who can't deliver that level of respect and understanding to their students. That was a teacher whose class I walked out of every day. Man, like I said, I'm sorry to hear that. We did have, some of you will remember, we did have early on in this semester with Offspring number 3, we had an issue with one of their teachers who was doing things and saying things in their classes that we found inappropriate and disrespectful. And frankly, I was not dissuaded from that opinion when we finally did have a conference with the teacher and the assistant principal. I was not dissuaded from that opinion. This was a teacher who is the other side of it, which is trying to be cool with everybody, but in trying to be cool, allowed disrespect. And to me, that's just as bad. You have to be a good human. That's it. Be a good human. They told me there was no way I could pass their classes, and well, I proved them wrong. Success is a wonderful bit of revenge. Yeah, it's a great motivator. If you're that type of person, it's a great motivator. I'm stubborn as a mule, so yeah, it's a great motivator for me. I have run a triathlon once. It was what they call Olympic length. So it was 1K swim, 25K bike, 10K run. Olympic length. I'd always wanted to run one. I did a really poor job training. So I went out and started getting ready for it and said, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And a bunch of the guys that I worked with were like, you know what, I'm going to do it just to show you up. They didn't believe I'd actually do it. They thought I was BSing. And that just motivated me more. So I did it. I ran it. Let's see. I got passed on the swim by a blind person. And I was dead last coming into the finish line. They were picking up the cones on the street behind me. But I did it. And I even went to work that afternoon. Sore as hell. But I did it. And I had a picture to prove it. And none of those guys showed up. And you know what? They never gave me crap about that stuff again because they didn't bother to show up. I did it and they hadn't. Stubborn. So I was motivated. I was bullied in class and let it go until he let it go until I retaliated, so I left the class. Yeah. I'm really sorry. I had my share of bullying thrust upon me when I was a kid. I've actually tried to write about it a couple times. I've written a couple of, started writing a couple of stories, almost like a comic book storyline, where the character is based on that type of person. Not based on the bully, based on someone who has been bullied and humiliated and what happens afterwards. And so I totally get it. I really do. My problem was my mother decided to get involved. And you'll rarely hear me say anything good about my mother, and this won't be one of those times either. But the last thing a kid in high school who's being bullied wants to hear is that his mother has called the principal, and the principal is going to assign someone to be his protector. That's right. They assigned a senior to watch over me and to make sure I wasn't being bullied by the jocks. No, that's not embarrassing. That was as bad as the bullying. I won't write about being bullied, at least not yet. Totally get that. Totally get that. I gotta tell you, the times that I've written about it, I've had to go back and look at it over and over again because it's cathartic in that I get it out, but it doesn't read real well. It's not an interesting read. It's just me venting. And there's places for that, but not in that kind of a story. So, I get it. And you know what? Sometimes you're not ready to revisit that stuff. I totally get it. So don't write about it. Don't revisit it. Know that that's something that at some point you may want to work on. But I'll tell you, to this day, as gregarious as I may seem on camera, I have no problem saying this is performance for me. I'm talking to you as a one-on-one person. I don't care if there's a million out there. I've done speeches for 5,000 people. I've been on TV. I've done, broadcast TV. I've done all those things in my life. But every single one of those times, I'm able to, one, treat it as a one-on-one experience. And two, I'm in control of the impression that's given of me. So one-on-one or 2 or 3 people, I'm okay. Take me to a party. Like recently we went to my stepdaughter's engagement party, where there's 10, 15, 20 people that I don't know and who I'm not supposed to be the center of attention. And I'm very uncomfortable. I will literally sink into a couch, a chair, wherever, into a corner, and I will just try to become a part of the wallpaper. I'll see 3 people laughing and then look over at me, and my insecurities from way back when I was a teenager tell me they're laughing at me. And I get very, very uncomfortable. So I totally get it. I'm still working through those issues. I'm trying to be better about it. Mrs. Kahuna knows if we go to a party like that, she tries not to leave my side because that's what happens. Let me catch up here with what we're writing. In kindergarten, I was bullied by the teacher and wasn't believed by my parents. Was bullied by one much older than me. Wow. Swan, very, very sorry to hear that. I think, the more I see this stuff, I realize how many of us dealt with that kind of stuff. I didn't have my locker broken into and switched lockers with my mother, who had decided to go back to school that year. In the grade 12 wing. Wow, that's Siobhan, that's very, very difficult to hear. I'm sorry. Sincerely. Having been there. Yeah. I have no words for it. I really don't. That's all we can do is learn our lessons from it, and hopefully those aren't the wrong lessons. And I will tell you, I learned some wrong lessons. And it took me quite some time to figure out how to get past those wrong lessons. You learn how to survive. You learn how to cope. You learn how to maneuver around the situation so that you can find a way to control it. I started performing, acting, singing, whatever, because I had control over the situation. I was performing a role. I knew what my words were. I knew that if there was a laugh, it was because it was intended to be a laugh. I knew if it was a gasp, it was because there was intended to be a gasp. I was simply delivering a message to start with. It wasn't me. They weren't judging or laughing at me. They were laughing at something I did, but I intended to do that. I was in control of that situation. That's why I started doing performance. At the time of my life when I became a skipper on the Jungle Cruise, I'd worked through some of these issues, and it really helped me because now I was dealing with people, 25 to 30 people at a time, every 8 minutes, where I had no control of the situation in terms of who was in there. But their experience was completely in my control. That's not to say that there weren't issues that would happen. For example, you notice that they have put a very shy little kid sitting next to you who doesn't seem to like loud noises, and you're about to fire a gun. How do you adapt? The boat in front of you has broken down. You can't go backwards. You can't go forwards. You're going to have to sit there and vamp for 15 to 20 minutes while they get that other boat taken care of. What do? You learn to think on your feet. My ability to be humorous came out of that situation. I already had some, but I had to learn to think on my feet even quicker. That's when people like Robin Williams became heroes to me, because the man's speed of thought was amazing. But you learn how to survive. I learned how to take control of those 25 to 30 people for those 8 minutes while I had them. And if I was really on, they were getting off the boat, laughing and having a great time, and then I get the feedback, oh my gosh, those people were just really loved, the trip. Awesome. That's some great feedback. So that positive feedback got me to where it just fed into the whole, I need to keep control of the situation. And when I'm not, I'm very uncomfortable. And again, one-on-one, I'm great. 1 on 2 or 3, or a small group of people that I know, like our weekly game night. Well, they're all, it's 4 to 5 friends that we all have a great time with. One of them I've known for more than 35 years. I'm okay with them. I can be myself, although I still find myself performing. But I'm not performing necessarily to keep control of the situation. They can laugh at me doing something dumb, and I'll laugh with them. But when I see that group over on the other side at a party, and they look towards me and are laughing, they weren't really looking at me. They're looking at something on the wall. They're looking at the person behind me. They're looking at. They don't even have a clue that I'm there in a sense. But that's not how my psyche perceives it. And that's a scar that I'm still trying to erase. So Siobhan, I totally get it. I'm hoping it hasn't scarred you so deeply that there are things you would like to do but can't. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I can only tell you that when someone scars you that deeply, you have to work through it. You have to. You have to put yourself in a position where you can get past that pain. Because if not, it's going to come up and bite you when you least expect it. My first marriage. Hang on. I can understand that it took me way too long to get the courage to come out so I can actually be myself, but now I am. Excellent. Excellent. I had a situation bite me in the butt once. Very hard. In my first marriage, we met doing theater. We were doing a show together. I used to audition singing Bring Him Home from Les Mis. I couldn't hit those notes now if you paid me. You could threaten me with my life and I'd be like, okay, make it quick. Because I couldn't hit those notes. But I did hit those notes back then. Fast forward 5, 6, 7 years later, 2 of us are married. And she was thinking about auditioning again and asked me some advice on her auditions. And I said, well, you can try this, try that. She didn't like what I was saying. And told me that every time she heard that song, she cringed because all she could do is hear me singing it, and then I had ruined it for her because of how badly I did it. I stopped singing in front of her. I also stopped singing in front of other people. Completely. I went from being on stage and, even singing, my own songs on the, doing Man of La Mancha and being the padre who has his own song. Even one night doing it a cappella when the music didn't work. I went from that to not singing. Fast forward about another 7 years, roughly. And my wife moves out. And I have my 4-year-old. Single dad. And I took her to a library. and the library had an outdoor amphitheater. And my daughter said, "Daddy, sing a song so I can dance to it on stage." And I couldn't do it. 4-year-old kid, my 4-year-old child, asked me to sing a song so she could dance. And I couldn't do it. That hurt. A lot. Hey Daz, welcome. It took me about a year to get to the point where I was okay with singing. And what I finally did was I went to a karaoke night. Surrounded by friends. Picked a song I knew I could do. Most of them were people I'd known for, at that point, 25, almost 30 years. And I got up and I sang. And I came back and sat down. And I was shaking and bawling, just tears running down my face. And there were very few people there who understood it. But I knew what it was. It was the fact that I had allowed myself to not sing, to not have this part of me out for years because I listened to someone who said something in anger. They didn't do that to me. I did it. I let that scar sit there and fester and harden to the point that I couldn't do it, and I couldn't sing for my 4-year-old. And I'd finally released it. And that, to me, was a huge, huge thing. Huge thing. Let me back up a bit. I'm going to second what Swan said. I really am glad that you made the choice you did, Siobhan. I really am. I get why you were there. I've known far too many. I get why you were there. Thanks for making the other decision. Thank you. Struggling now with my singing voice, but I'm working on it. I'm happy with my range. Here's my thing. I used to be a Helden tenor, which is kind of somewhere between tenor and baritone in the high end. You can hit a lot of tenor notes, but you also can get way down in the baritone. As I've aged, I've lost a lot of the high end, mainly from years of not using it for part of it. But another reason is because after my heart surgery, something happened. And I've lost probably a good octave and a half of range. It happens. Let us singers band together. Mr. Tanner, I think I have heard it. Bob. Now I'm going to have to go find it on YouTube just so I can hear it. I love Harry Chapin. The man can tell a story that's absolutely wonderful and with a depth that's just remarkable. I have a 3-octave range, but it's too low. I had probably about a 3-octave range. From way down here to way up there. My big thing was, as I held in tenor, I didn't have a noticeable break going from my chest voice to my head voice. I could very easily go between the two to where there was no noticeable break. Not anymore. I have to immediately go from chest to falsetto. There's nothing in between. Octave and a half is normally. I used to have a very good range. It was a vocal coach I used to work with that she's like, this is awesome, there's so much stuff you can do, da 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 da. And then I stopped using it. Another consequence of me listening to somebody else and letting that get into my head. What other people do can really hurt us. The key is we can always fix it. It isn't easy. In fact, this is going to sound really cliche, but the things that are worth fixing are usually the hardest to fix. 100%. Yeah. I mean, Mrs. Kahuna will tell you, it took a while for me to get to where I would sing in front of her, and I still don't do it all the time. Now it's more because a lot of the songs that I used to sing, I can't hit the notes anymore. Either my voice cracks, or, of all things, it just won't put out a note. It won't put out a wrong note. It won't put out any note. It's like I go, and there's nothing there. So, that's the way it is. You kind of live with it. So, and she's funny because she actually has a very beautiful voice, but she is also uncomfortable with it, with hearing it herself. So she'll goof around when she's singing and make it a goofy noise, and it's too bad because she's got a good voice. Tried to come out in grade 9 by going as a woman for Halloween, and the ridiculers who sent back into the closet. Yeah. Offspring number 3 is, I think I've mentioned it before. Non-binary is ace. Tends to prefer the female form over the male form in what she's interested in. But, you know, they luckily, this is now a time where coming out is just not that big a deal. Or at least, now let me rephrase that. It is more commonplace now. It's still a big deal. It was kind of funny when they came out to us. When they came out to us, we knew. 2 to 3 years earlier. We knew, we'd already discussed, okay, someday she'll come out to us. And I think we disappointed them because they said, really not interested in guys. We went, okay. No, you guys don't understand. I'm really not interested in guys. We're like, yeah, we know. Could you pass the potatoes? What do you mean you know? Duh, we knew like 2-3 years ago. I didn't know 2-3 years ago. We did. It was over dinner. And it was like, and there was a disappointment, like they were ready for us and ready for a fight and ready for us to be, and we're like, yeah, no, it's cool. All right, great. You want some more? No? Give it to me. It just went really low key. Mom knew when I was 10 that I was a girl. I was like, yeah. You usually can tell. I think the parents who say they never knew, but refused to admit to it, refused to believe it. For whatever reason, they just said, nah, not my kid. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Kids deserve to be cared for. However they are. Whoever they are. Who they love, how they identify, it doesn't matter. And denying someone their identity is shame. It's wrong. A funny story about that, I guess. Sort of funny. I always found it funny. When I used to do a lot of theater, there was one day where I was helping work on costumes. In the costume room was the director, his partner, a third individual, and myself. 4 men, only one of which had an interest in women. Hysterical because at one point the director looked at me and goes, you know, we need to find you a good girl. Like, thanks, Mom. But it always struck me funny as, like, I never thought I was an ugly guy. I was not, I was no male model, but I wasn't an ugly guy. So I finally asked one of these guys, I said, I gotta know, why is it that no gay man ever tries to hit on me? I was sincerely concerned. Like, what's wrong with me? And the answer surprised me. It was, because you are so obviously straight, we wouldn't waste our time. And they went on to say, look, it's not because you're not homophobic or anything. You're totally cool with everybody. But there is nothing about you that says gay. Nothing. Not one thing. We wouldn't waste our time. Oh. Okay. So, that's the way it goes. I didn't find out until it came out. She told a family friend she had $3 son. That's cool, actually. Still hadn't said anything to me about it even. Wow. Interesting. So your mom actually told somebody else, but never said anything to you. Wow. I don't know. I don't know how to process that. I don't know how to process that. I think the toughest time I have with my kid, their gender identity is their gender identity. That means nothing to me. Well, it doesn't make a difference in how I feel about my kid. But calling your kid a daughter for 13, 14 years, and then having to switch the pronoun to they has been a challenge. Just to remember it. And 2, probably harder, is talking to other people about them. Because I really try hard not to say my daughter, because they don't identify that way. But the alternate pronouns are not as well used and recognized to be able to do that. So it's kind of weird. She taught me how to dance and do my own makeup. Maybe she was trying to tell me she knew without saying anything. Yeah. It could have been just the fact that how she was brought up, maybe. And again, I'm not a psychologist here. I'm spitballing. But maybe she was brought up that the idea of it was wrong, but still her kid. So, gotta be okay with it without admitting it. People are weird. This is why I like names. Okay, now. Here's the one that gets frustrating for me. They picked a gender-neutral name. Makes sense, right? So, what you get is, my kid really likes their ceramics class. Oh, it's so strange for a kid to, it's so strange for a boy to like ceramics. I didn't say it was a boy. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you had a girl. Do I correct them? Do I say, I don't have a girl? It's tough. It's not tough for me that I'm embarrassed. It's that, especially if it's somebody I just met, is this a can of worms I want to open with them? Do I want to educate them? And in many cases I do, especially if I've gotten a good vibe from this person that, hey, this is a person who's, a tolerant human being who is understanding of human nature and, is a good person, a good human. Or is this someone who is going to be just off the charts, vehement that anything but, plain vanilla gender identity is a sin? I don't know. I don't want to open that can of worms. Androgynous subculture might help. Yeah, I mean, took my given name and feminized it since my father would use the feminine name whenever he thought I was acting girly. I understand. Daz, when you say androgynous subculture might help, what do you mean? Like I said, I get it. I'm still working at it. I mean, when you call your kid the same thing for 14 years, it takes a little while to get to be fluid in changing pronouns. Otherwise, not that big an issue for me. It's more just, speech. But talking to someone who either doesn't know about, say, gender neutrality or different gender identities, or someone who flat out refuses to acknowledge that there are different gender identities. That's where I'm stuck. That's where I don't know how to deal with things in a way that doesn't make it worse. Some culture where people try to educate. Yeah. Those aren't the people I need to educate. People who are able to do that, where it's non-gendered. Cool. It's kind of what my kid wants. Oh, pardon me while I bash a bot. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. I killed it with fire and blades. So, I get it. What? I'm sorry, what? All right, I'll be down in just a minute. Mrs. Kahuna is calling. This has been an awesome conversation. I'd like to continue with this at some point. Maybe we can pick it up again next Friday. Haha. No. You didn't see a bot because I killed it quickly. I killed it. It deletes the bot's message. Bye-bye. However, I know not to leave Mrs. Kahuna waiting. So I'm going to have to let you guys go. But this has been an awesome conversation, and I really like your input, Siobhan, especially yours, because I think that helps me as a dad. I never want to put my kid into a position that others have been into that has made them uncomfortable, or go to the point of thinking of, making a decision that would be difficult. I mean, to learn how to address it. Yeah, it's, for me, I can address, it's the other. You're right, Daz. Maybe I should look into it. All right, you guys. Who are we going to raid here? Let's take a look here. Who is on at the moment? Coffee is. Coffee Quills is on. So we are going to send you over to Coffee Quills. I hope you guys have had a good time. I hope this has been a good conversation for you guys. Please come back next week. My next stream will be on Sunday afternoon, same time as this one, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 o'clock Eastern. And that's my Kahuna Reads. If you have articles you want read, pop into my Discord and drop the reads there, or come in on Sunday and drop me some links there. You can do it either way. Because right now I have nothing to read, so I'm going to have to go looking for stuff tomorrow. You guys have a great weekend. I'm going to go and spend time with my soon-to-be son-in-law. And, yeah, we can chat during Kahuna Quiet, actually. Yeah, absolutely. But that's Monday. But, yeah, join me on Sunday at 4. Otherwise, next Kahuna Quiet is between 8 and 8:30 on Monday morning, whenever I can haul my carcass out of bed. All right, off to Coffee Quills you go. Give them a big old aloha from me. And Siobhan, absolutely, let's chat some more. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for the sub. So much. Very much appreciated. Go give Coffee Quills a big aloha from me. We'll talk to you later.